So today, we're gonna check out the terrifying trilogy of Shed 17 by Pauls Vids. And we're gonna start out with video number 1, simply titled Shed 17. I don't know anything about this, so I am going in like completely blind. I know like there's some other YouTubers have checked this and reacted to this and so on, and I've heard from other people that this is some creepy stuff. Maybe we need subtitles on? Sodorland? Sodorland, 1982. So is this supposed to be like a creepypasta based on like Thomas the Tank Engine? Oh, Sodorland, and then it's present day, right? So what happened? What happened since the windmill is gone? This kind of gives me like a little bit of Foxymation vibes, you know, where we have like children's stories and children animations, you know, something that I grew up with, that takes like a really dark twist and is turned into like absolute horror instead of being, you know, the childish, joyful animation that they should be.
They were the stories that have charmed an entire generation. From the books to the television series, people around the world have grown up with the railway stories, and all their cheerful characters. But the truth behind Thomas and his friends was no children's fantasy. The truth would be horrifying.
How so? Jesus, okay. So something must have happened inside of Shed 17. Something must have happened inside of Shed 17.
1945, and the remote island of Sodor, off the northwest coast of England, has emerged from the fog of World War II, relatively unscathed and untouched.
The island served as a detention camp for Germans living in England. That's how Professor came to be here.
Professor Wilhelm Gotze was born in 1903 in Munich, Germany. A doctor in biology, he became a prominent advisor to the ruling party in the 30s.
Okay, I did not know we were gonna surprised by a certain German man. I think we gotta censor a bunch in this video. I think having the H guy in Thomas the Tank Engine's universe is never something that I would have imagined in my life.
In 1939, as war escalated, he, his wife Olga, and 4-year-old son Hans fled the country.
The fact that this is age restricted and somehow has like, you know, 2.6 million views is insane. I'm a resident in the lower ranks of the party. I was increasingly abhorred by the direction of the government has taken, and the things they were rumored to be doing terrified me.
That's what he wanted people to believe. The fact is, his experiments were hard to stomach even for his own people.
In truth, he had become a prominent figure in the government, but as his work progressed, questions and objections had been raised in the higher echelons of the Reich.
His work with genetics and DNA was truly pioneering, the cracking and manipulating of the human genome. What Professor Gotze was most successful in, however, was keeping his history a secret until his death.
In an attempt
So what
to
happened
gain
after his
favor
death?
among the German hierarchy, Wilhelm Gotze was at the forefront of the government's most fanatical policies. In 1938, he was influential in instigating the infamous Sajmelnacht, the Night of Sawdust. But, as his experiments advanced, he became a much less popular figure and soon feared for his and his family's lives.
As soon as he escaped to England, he was banged up here. But the locals were nice to him. There was no hostility. And many of them chose
Even
to
after
live
what
here
he
after
did?
war.
Even after
Following their
everything
release,
he did?
Professor Gotze, Olga, and young Hans chose to remain. After studying under his father, Hans left at the age of 18 and went to university on the mainland, studying biology and engineering, writing several pioneering papers about genetics and the splicing of DNA with mechanical implants.
He called it biofusion, the technique of manipulating genetic material to splice with mechanical attachments.
Wait, are they gonna fuse
However,
humans and
much like his
trains?
father, the British government became more and more concerned with Hans Gotze's proposals. So he was forced to seek financial backing from home.
His dad left Germany with quite a few bob, so Hans came back. He saw our little island as some sort of refuge where he could work in peace. Soon every nutcase and eccentric was coming over.
By 1962, Hans had set up Sodor Research, a small lab near the town of Alsborough, but soon the enterprise began supplying medical equipment and machinery, and quickly grew to become a large complex,
But how would
comprising
they
its
have
own
the
links to the
money?
growing Sodor rail system.
How would they have the money for
Abby
all
Collins
of
from
that?
The town was working there when Professor Hans took a liking to her. Soon they were married, and not long after, the town was buzzing with news of her pregnancy.
Baby Thomas was born in 1968. Throughout the early years of his life, he would watch the growing railway network with fascination.
I think this might be what we call subtle foreshadowing, because we know that Thomas is a tank engine, and we're talking about a family here that is working on bioengineer fusion, like they're fusing machines and humans. So Thomas here may be like a smiling little boy right now, but it's not gonna be too long before he turns into the train that we know.
Couldn't get enough of trains. His dad bought him one of the first video cameras, and it'd be on the platforms every day. You can see me in some of those tapes.
Hiya, Mr. Hartley.
Morning, Thomas. But he was friends with everyone, even that simple bloke who could only say where he lived.
Sodor.
But his favourite
Hold on.
trains were the old steam engines.
Steam engines were a dying art on the British mainland, but Hans also had a fondness for them, much like his son, and likes to keep them running for our purposes, taking orders from the labs to the growing docks, or to the mainland to be transferred to modern postal express trains.
But as the Sodor rail system expanded, it found itself increasingly under the supervision of the new British rail network, and appointed a new controller.
Oi! Get off my platform!
Sir Topham Hatt. Born into money, he took his ridiculous name to heart and started wearing a top hat all the time.
Oh, I know
Of
that
course,
guy.
the islanders had a different name for him.
Fat bastard. I've never met such a cold-hearted him. He banned all steam engine volunteers and cut most at rail employees, shut down the branch line and the smaller stations. He was happy to let the railway rust away, just like they did to the main line.
But the fortunes of the railway were about to take a profitable turn.
How?
A stroke of luck for the island that would result from tragedy.
Come on, we're gonna be late. What's the time? Thomas, get moving.
Young Thomas loved following railway. He'd be out all the time, hoping to catch a new train on his camera.
11:45's coming through soon. He won't wait for us.
Unfortunately, he didn't take as much notice
Yeah,
of the
beware of the
safety
train.
signs.
Stop when
Not be
something.
late again. Have we missed it yet? Wait for the 11:45. Never mind the 11:45. It must be late again. Thomas,
You hear it,
come on.
right?
It's always held up.
Wait. You hear the train, you hear the. Ah! Jesus Christ, dude!
Hans was mortified. He disappeared from public view and into the labs, locking
Oh, that actually jump scared me. What the hell?
Come on. It's always held up.
It just appeared out of nowhere. Oh my god.
Hans was mortified.
What does the newspaper clipping say? Gotze family tragedy. Hey driver, where are we going? I swear my nerves are showing. Set my hopes up way too high. Living's the way to die. Come the morning and the headlights fade in rain of hundreds of thousands of people. I'm the only one they frame. I've been waiting long for one of us, they say, to say, save the darkness, let it never fade away. In the living light, in the living daylights. All right, hold on tight now. It's down to the wire. Set your hopes up, way up too high. Living in the way to die. Comes the morning and the headlights fade away. It's the same. Yeah, it's just the same over and over again. I think it might be lyrics.
He disappeared from public view and into the labs. Locking himself in, he wouldn't allow anyone in there.
Eventually his father Wilhelm came to see him. In a few days, a major laboratory had been locked down, followed by an engine maintenance shed, which was to become off-limits to all. All production was shut down, orders weren't met, but the two Professor Gotzes didn't care. More and more equipment was being delivered daily, but no one was allowed in Shed 17. Questions started being asked on Sodor. Where were the Gotzes? Would there be no funeral for young Thomas? And where was the body?
They'd arranged for Thomas to be transferred to a mainland hospital. He'd been taken to the complex but was never moved by rail. We all assumed the obvious, he was still in lab.
But if Thomas was there, was he still alive? And what was the purpose of keeping him at the complex?
They're turning him into the train.
Almost a year after the accident,
He's using his research.
The doors of Sodor research were reopened.
Oh God,
In
no.
an invitation to the people of the island, Thomas rolled out of Shed 17.
He's not gonna open his eyes, is he?
It took me a moment to realise what it was I was looking at. When he looked at me and said,
Hiya, Mr. Hartley.
it dawned on me what Hans Gotze and his
He
dad
used
had
his
done.
research.
One woman passed out as Thomas smiled at us. I had to run off around the side of the shed.
Hey, are you alright, Keith?
As news spread across the country, the world's media rushed to Sodor
It's the
Island.
It's the same text again. But that's an abomination. That shouldn't be allowed in any way.
Interview me. I became a bit of a celebrity.
Controversy on Sodor Island. Questions asked about science ethics.
It's fair to say I was pretty nervous at
I'm
times,
joined now by Keith Hartley.
but I think I put on a brave face.
What did you think when you first came to meet Thomas the Tank Engine?
I would actually kind of react the same. If I saw someone's son get turned into a clanker, I would actually freak out.
Most of my mates said I looked pretty good on telly. The mayor said I'd represented the people of Sodor very well.
By throwing up.
It's important to show you're confident when people are asking you awkward questions.
Good evening. An act of mercy or a crime against humanity?
It's a crime.
I'm joined now by
Even when some of the questions got difficult, I made sure I knew what I was talking about.
He's gonna throw out again.
When you first met a talking tank engine.
Is that his reaction all the time, just throwing up?
Make an informed opinion, or if you can't string together two words on telly, well, maybe you shouldn't be on there.
I mean, you're not even saying anything. You're just throwing up every time they ask
The subject
you.
matter was a bit bizarre sometimes.
There are some dark forces at work here.
Yeah, all you just do is
You're
throw
all right,
up.
As long as you could win over the audience.
Serious, they're laughing at you. They're not laughing with you.
I mean, he must have some sort of stage fright.
The Gotze family refused to answer any questions. Behind closed doors, the only question they agreed to answer had
Hey, wait, is it new? Hey, driver, where are we going? I swear my nerves were showing. Set up high hopes. I think it's the same text over and over again. What is it? Gotze explained revealed.
been asked repeatedly, would Thomas work on the railway? The response was an emphatic no.
Thomas's DNA had been reprogrammed to accept and adapt to the engine structure, using the engine's internal system to maintain his organic functions. What no one could be sure of was how much of the engine was mechanical and how much was organic material.
Thomas had been able to move around without coaches, but to work on the railway, his engine would need to be fired up and operated by a driver and fireman.
Yeah.
Since no one
And
could be sure how much of the engine was.
I was about to say being inside of a starts with a C, ends with a D, as an adult is not really good. I mean, there's a lot of ethical problems in terms of, like, you know, half man, half machine. But then going inside of said machine to control it is, I wouldn't say that's morally questionable. I would say that's just plain out wrong. Whoever is gonna be, like, the one commandeering this train, I'm just gonna say once they're done with their job, they're going to prison. They're going to jail straight away.
By a driver and fireman.
Since no one could be sure how much of the engine was Thomas, the pressure caused by the engine could rupture his organs from the inside, and the incredible heat could boil him alive. Professor Hans and his father vowed Thomas would never work on the railways.
Similarly, the two professors were to refuse many requests by people from around the world who wished to be biofused into engines.
What is this one saying? Orlesborough, Sodor Island, Cumbria. Dear Mr. Branson, thank you for your inquiry about our biofusion process. Regarding your request to be biofused into a steam engine, I regret to inform you that due to the dangers involved in the biofusion operation and the questions regarding the implications of vehicles for operational purposes and the moral implications, we're currently suspending our biofusion program for the foreseeable future. However, I'm delighted to report that Sodor Research Medical Equipment Production Program will shortly be reinstated. If you would be interested in a tour of the facility or investing in our products, I would be happy to discuss this. In the meantime, please find our enclosed most recent catalog.
Biofused into engines.
There were billionaires offering to pay whatever they wanted to be converted into an engine or some other transport. Train enthusiasts too.
That's The Rock. No, I mean John Cena. That was straight up John Cena.
Train enthusiasts too. And people with terminal illnesses were desperate to be made into trains. But for some reason, the Gotzes refused.
But there would be other interested parties, eager to seize on the biofusion gold mine. The independently wealthy Topham Hatt staged a hostile takeover, and within weeks it bought a controlling share in Sodor research.
Immediately, the policy of the company changed, and so did the ethics. The medical supply wing was shut down, and work began on mass biofusion experiments and operations. Anyone who could afford it, some handing over their whole fortunes, were turned into engines.
But, along with the new policy, there would be worse to come. Biofused engines would be allowed, then obliged, to work on the railways.
The first one we fired up was James. He didn't have the money some of these people had, and so agreed to basically sign his life away if he wanted to experiment further, or to take massive risks like this. As usual, the fat f*** had everything recorded. All kept classified, you understand.
These recordings, shown for the first time, reveal the extent of Sir Topham Hatt's experiments.
So can they take it?
It was horrible watching these engines work on the railways some days. But the tourists wanted to see it. They expected it. And for me, it was work.
But with the new engine's increasing work schedule came more and more accidents.
What kind of accidents? Like the trains colliding?
Edward was supposed to have problems. He'd been filming all day for the new TV series they'd announced, and for his last scene, he had to pull into Wellsworth Station and whistle to the kids on the platform.
Peep, peep! Whistled Edward. Thank you very much.
Sadly, this was only the first in an increasing number of incidents.
Harold had an obsession with aircraft and appeared to become a helicopter. The operation had gone well, but we had to ban him from being allowed to attempt flight.
Why?
An experiment kept secret until now. Mavis the diesel engine was to be the first biofused locomotive used on the railway.
We fueled her up and everything seemed fine. Then things got out of hand.
Started vomiting, or?
The diesel began to burn her internal organs. Everything organic in the engine was soon burning.
Oh, so she died as a train?
Locomotive scream in pain. We tried rinsing out the fuel tank with water, but by then it was too late.
Mavis's body would be kept under lock and key indefinitely. In an unexpected U-turn, Sir Topham Hatt would ban fueled engines from being used on the island.
Yeah, that's understandable after that happened.
Harold was never told why he couldn't fly, but the decision would keep him alive, if only for a little while longer.
It's because,
in fact,
hold on, before we move on, I can imagine it's probably because his organs is like connected to like the stem, like the rotor. And if you start spinning the rotor, all the arteries and all your not blood cells, but all of your internal organs will start twisting and turning and tearing each other apart. Not flying and not spinning up your propeller is basically what's keeping you alive. Otherwise, you basically tear your entire all your internal organs apart.
It would keep him alive, if only for a little while longer.
In fact, unknown to the outside world, there had been many failed biofusion experiments.
That fat bastard kept the accidents a secret, and legal disclaimers had to be signed by anyone being biofused.
The handbook sets out the terms and conditions of the hospital, medical and dental staff, of the doctors and dentists in the public, community health in England. It supersedes the handbook, incorporates in between. This is just like legal jargon. Distinctions awards shall be payable where they have been recommended for an individual consults by the adversary committee. So
Signed by anyone being biofused.
TNC, it's just TNC.
So there'd be no legal action taken if anything went wrong.
This footage shows engines being displayed to tourists during the off-season. Many of these engines were failed biofusion experiments and were too ill to work or were already dead.
They had to put a stop to that though.
With all accidents happening, everyone started asking the same thing. Why had Thomas, the first engine, worked so well?
Despite all the troubles the other engines had, Thomas had worked fine, seemingly oblivious to the other engines' problems and accidents.
Keeping their problems a secret from the outside world, Sodor Research began selling the technology to other countries in multi-million-pound deals. These countries would have less qualms about the use of fuel engines, and even the modern electric trains. Even failed biofused engines were being displayed publicly in what would become a kind of freak show. To his horror, Professor Hans Gotze saw what this was leading to: slavery of engines, and immediately resigned.
That's understandable.
His father, Wilhelm, would go one step further.
Ow. But being connected to the same train, they must have been twins, otherwise that's completely messed up. He's not gonna do what I think he's gonna do, right? Is he gonna... I think he might do it. They said he had other plans. I think he might actually do it.
Professor Wilhelm couldn't come to terms with what was happening to his engines, and took the only course he thought he could take.
That fat got a load of us rail staff over to his house to clean up after the body was taken away. You should have seen it. Sawdust everywhere. It took us days.
But such attempts to keep the incidents on Sodor a secret were short-lived, after a very public accident.
Gordon paid an enormous amount to be Sodor's first 462 configuration engine.
That's diesel,
much
isn't it?
bigger than any other engine at the time. We were terrified that fat shite would make us fire up that huge engine.
We were shocked to discover he had insisted on being able to work on the railway. So, one night, after the regular staff had finished for the day, fat some of the rail staff and I fired up the engine.
As usual, these experiments were filmed. This footage has never been broadcast before.
Dr. Ruth and I filmed it all.
It might be a bit shaky. It was handheld. At first, Gordon complained about the heat. Then that turned to pleas to douse the fire.
But that fat bastard held us back. He wanted to see what would happen.
So he kept going, he kept pushing.
Put a lot of work into Gordon, and the chances to get him working were too great an opportunity. He was literally cooking from the inside. By the time we were allowed to act, it was too late.
And he imploded?
I wasn't as near to him as some of them. All I could do was run. I was lucky to get away with some singed clothes. Others weren't so lucky.
The fateful few hours following the accident would seal the fate of Sodor Research.
The fat stopped us trying to put out the fire, insisting that any evidence would fall back on us.
He kept repeating, "This was all your fault. You knew the dangers. You're legally to blame." He stopped us calling for ambulances or the fire brigade.
We told him,
So they kept it a
"These are
secret
injured
all along.
people here. They're going to die unless we do something." But he kept saying, "No one from the outside can come in. No one can see this."
Classified.
Finally,
They gotta hide
someone
it.
suggested we airlift them to hospital.
If they're already dead, that's too
Harold
late.
was banned from flying for his own safety, but we thought the risk was worth
Yeah,
it.
now it's gonna happen.
Fueling Harold was a nervous experience. Would he have the same reaction Mavis had?
We all breathed a sigh of relief and loaded the injured people aboard. Then it all went wrong.
This is
Harold's
horrifying.
engine had worked fine, but what no one realized was most of Harold's lower extremities were permanently fused to his propeller system. As Harold's rotor blades began to spin, vital organs would be drawn into the water and tear him apart from the inside.
Oh! You guys gotta like and subscribe right now. Dude, straight up. I predicted the future. All of you guys, you gotta like and subscribe. Oh my god. I'm big brain. I'm cool. I'm good. Holy moly.
Well, now there was no covering it up. The smoke could be seen all morning.
Yeah.
But news people were here in an instant. We were told to close gates and start clearing up the mess ourselves, with some help.
Henry Thierry was the only 420 gauge engine on the island. A large engine that had been working on the railway regularly, he had become popular among tourists and the locals.
Yeah, but why is it that some work and some
Henry was called
doesn't?
into the yard to help tidy the mess. Working mostly at night, he would cart away the wreckage under cover of darkness.
We had to work quickly and quietly. Henry would cart wreckage from the yard away to the sea. Then one night, the points were set wrong and we were diverted to another shed.
Shed
Henry
17.
had inadvertently been sent to shed number 17, where Thomas had been biofused into a tank engine and had subsequently been declared out of bounds.
It was dark and these sheds all looked the same. I unlocked the doors and Henry rolled in. I didn't see what Henry saw, because as soon as he put his head through doors, he bolted and reversed out.
Keys locked the shed up without seeing what was inside. But Henry had seen it all.
We
So
wouldn't
Henry
even
got-
dare talk about that shed.
Henry got
More than our
decommissioned.
job's worth.
But Henry had decided to speak up and confront Sir Topham Hatt. That night, he arrived at the railway controller's office.
I don't know what was said in there, but there were raised voices at times. They had a shouting match for 10 minutes. Then Henry left, back to the shed.
By pure
Henry's
chance,
gonna
he
get
was sent
killed.
back to the same shed as Thomas that night, and with one sentence, he sealed both their fates.
Henry only said one thing to him: stay away from shed 17. The next day, the fat had a new job for him.
And that job is gonna end up killing him.
The
Yep.
flying kipper route ran through the night, delivering fish from the docks to the mainland, across the highest altitude line in the country.
I mean, at least it's
That
cold.
line was treacherous at best, but when Henry was put on there, in the middle of winter, it was a death trap.
Yeah, I was right.
In 1970, fish had started being delivered by road to the mainland. It was safer and more cost-effective, and the line was declared redundant. Dangerous and unnecessary, it came as a shock to the islanders when it was reopened.
That fat shite always hated Henry. He didn't like his cheerful manner, and he clearly had other lifestyle choices when he was a human. Fat wanted Henry away from the other engines, and Kipper Run was a death sentence.
On the night of February the 8th, 1983, Henry had only been on the Kipper Run for a week. The following incident would be made into a book and later recreated in the television series.
This is the train the railwaymen call the Flying Kipper.
What would happen when he crashed?
Can you believe they put it in a kid's story? Of course, that fat changed quite a few of their facts.
Yeah.
They couldn't know the points from the main line to a siding were frozen, and the home signal should have been set at danger, but snow had forced it down.
As the train approached the most treacherous part of the line, unnoticed to Henry, his driver and firemen, the points had diverted them to the adjoining siding and right
So you
into
crash.
the path of another train.
Oh, so it was like a head-first collision. And Top Hat did that on purpose to basically get rid of the evidence, get rid of Henry.
Fireman had jumped clear before the crash.
In fact, Al and Barry died from their injuries. Slowly, in snow, the poor bastards.
By midday, the recovery operation was underway, and Sir Topham Hatt had arrived.
Cheer up, Henry, it wasn't your fault. Ice and snow caused the accident.
These images from a train spotter's camera were taken the evening before and were successfully covered up by the Sodor Railway Board for 10 years.
But since all this is covered up, how are we seeing this?
Points blocking them. Of course, that had disappeared by the time we got there.
How are we like watching this?
Crew, a fine place for sick engines.
Crew. We all knew what that meant.
They'll give you a new shape and a larger firebox.
Crew was, at the time, one of only 2 scrap metal yards in the UK capable of handling and recycling organic material as well as engine parts.
You'll feel a different engine and won't need special coal anymore.
With those few words, he'd sentence Henry to death.
Won't that be
How?
nice? Yes, sir, said Henry doubtfully.
Everyone knew we wouldn't see him again, and everything was sewn up nice and
But
neat for
that means that
crap.
they kill him in order to reuse. They kill Henry in order to
The news
reuse
got
his
out about
parts.
Henry's accident. It didn't take long for Thomas to realise Henry had been disposed of because of what he knew.
The next evening, Thomas had been put on his own for the night at Knapford Station. As his driver and fireman left, under what was left of his own steam, he set off for the Sodor Research Complex.
He
which
had a
is
small
bad
amount
idea.
of burning fuel in his firebox, but he was mostly moving under his own strength. It took Thomas 3 hours to get to the complex, the effort to get there nearly killing him.
Thomas arrived at midnight. With no one around, he made his way to the shed where he was created. What he found was the answers to his questions, and many others.
Oh, what are we gonna see?
Since Sodor Research had become producing biofuels vehicles, the world had asked, why had the first biofusion operation worked so well, but nearly every operation since had failed?
Yeah, there must be
Sadly,
a reason.
Thomas found the reasons inside.
Is it because nuclear power, or is it like radioactivity?
Thomas had never been the first operation. He hadn't even been second.
What shed number 17 contained was evidence of several attempts to create a tank engine with Thomas's DNA. These had been early tests made by people with no experience of an experiment on this scale. Ill-planned and unprepared, these procedures had used DNA from the human Thomas and had been as much the real Thomas as the tank engine the world had come to know and love.
So if they aren't compatible,
To
that's the
us,
thing.
Thomas the Tank Engine had been the Thomas we all knew as a boy. Part of the family the whole island's population had known and respected since Wilhelm first arrived.
In actuality, this tank engine was no more the real Thomas than all the failed creations made over the 12 months before.
So you're telling me wait, there's
This
two,
Thomas
there's a
had
Thomas.
all the human Thomas's memories and experiences. He had learned what Thomas had learned, known who Thomas had known, but so had all the previous failures.
So we have a Thomas that's inside of that green
Wilhelm
thing.
and Hans Gotze had to learn through trial and error how to bring their Thomas back from the dead. The following experiments had not had the same work put into them, resulting in the freak engines and aircraft that had developed so many problems on Sodor Island and around the world. In Shed 17, Thomas wouldn't discover who he was, but in fact, who he wasn't.
That's the original Thomas. Okay.
He had no idea he was only one of many clones. None of us did. But I guess as time passed, we stopped asking all the questions we had at first. We were just glad our friend was back with us. He could work for us. He became our servant in a way. Someone who drew in the crowds, helped create jobs, was eager to work. Thomas always thought of us as his friends. Sadly, over time we came to think of him as just really useful.
I don't know why, but I kind of find the ending scene pretty ironic. In 1983, a government equity inquiry was launched into the events of Sodor Island and the lapse of Sodor research. It was like the skull face. The skull face was the one that did it for me. Biofusion was banned the following year, which makes sense. Compulsory work for biofused engines was finally banned after the Windscale nuclear flask test of July 1984. Sir Topham had disappeared without a trace. His whereabouts were never discovered. He would now be 102 years old, if he were alive, yeah. Thomas the Tank Engine remains in a specialist... Thomas the Tank Engine remains in a specialist unit where he has currently undergone 23 reconstructive operations. As in, the one in the tank, or the one we saw? Biofusion was later banned in Europe, although biofusion engines are still required to work. Because of the contract, yeah. Sadly, in China, biofusion is still compulsory for all political prisoners? Qing Tibet Railway. Biofusion trains never late. Always on time, never complain. Much easier to discipline. Oh, but it's... Holy shit! That was insane!
Next week, Cockleshell Bay. In the aftermath of the Mr. Ship inquiry, we ask, how much did ITV know? And where next for Robin and Rosie of Cockleshell Bay.
I really like this idea of like taking children's shows and like children movies and turning them into like, you know, giving us unsettling and unnerving backstory. Do we have more at the end here? It seems like we do have some more after the credits. The fact that this was made like 10 years ago in 2015 is insane because the quality of this is so good. Ah, Costa Concordia. I think I remember like the internet historian meme. Like the internet historian video about this. So the Costa... Oh, so that's maybe what the sequel is gonna be about. Holy shit. Okay, so from what I gather from this story, right? We have a couple of Germans that made some biofusion engineering plans and ideas. They used their dead son Thomas as like a template. I imagine that only other people that were compatible with Thomas's DNA were the ones that were successful, which is why we had so many other train engines basically failing and exploding and dying and having issues. You're never gonna get someone who shares the same genome and the same code as you, but it's just like how we can be, you know, someone can be A positive, O negative, you know, someone can have the same type of blood. If you're compatible, like if your blood type is compatible with someone else, then the fusion will be better since Thomas was used as a template. But the fact that they kept on experimenting with different people, because it would be pretty obvious that that's the point, right? That if you don't test what's their blood type, what's their compatibility, if you don't check their DNA before it actually happens, you're gonna know that, I mean, you're not gonna know that if they're compatible or not, but if you actually made that extra research, you found out, okay, this specimen is compatible with our DNA sample, which is Thomas, and then the fusion could happen and it could work. But the fact that you just kept on pumping out over and over again and not actually doing further research, not even opening them up to check how they look on the inside, because as we could see on Thomas, like the inside of Thomas's train was like bone structure and organs and so on. The fact that they know it only after they die and not before just shows the lack of quality assurance, the lack of research that was needed to actually do this. But apart from that, taking like the entire childhood, you know, your favorite childhood shows and turning it into horror is absolutely amazing. We do, and the fact that this was uploaded like 9 years ago, 6th of October, is insane. We do have another video that is like in the same universe, and this one is called Project G-1. And this one was uploaded about 6 years ago. So we are in February 10th, 1983.
Loyalty, honor, respect. When you lose even one of those, you take something away from those around you. The ones you love, your friends. We let down those closest to us without ever realizing we'd done so. The people that didn't leave work at night.
This is the aftermath.
They
Wait.
Railways for the love of railways.
That means the specimen escaped.
They weren't silenced. They weren't subdued.
The template escaped.
They didn't have anything to object to. By the time they realized there was a problem, it was too late. We didn't stifle them. We didn't lock them away. We didn't lie to them. We committed the worst sin of all. We just didn't listen.
So we have Thomas and the DNA sample are both gone. Ah! But the question is, was that the DNA sample?
2015, the world was reintroduced to the horrors and suffering that began on a small island off the northwest coast of England.
There's a documentary here. 9 p.m. Thomas the Tank Engine, Shed 17. Documentary from where the train workers from Sodor Railway and the controversial Sodor research in the early 1980s reminisce and remember the events that led to the closure of the railway and the banning of the biofusion process that destroyed so many lives. Recall the much reported events and attempting to separate the fact and rumors from those that subtitle. Oh, so it's subtitled in stereo. The Chinatown Murders. Kojak has to race against time. Oh, so these are all movies.
Off the northwest coast of England.
I don't think the documentary showed anything we didn't already know. People had just become desensitized to what had happened to Thomas and his friends.
Yeah.
The reaction, or rather, overreaction, began straight away.
I feel called out. I mean, I didn't really overreact. When we watched the first video, at scary parts, of course I felt scared. But right now, I kind of feel a little bit called out.
This young man in the USA had become so traumatized by Shed 17, he had memorized all the dialogue and would do nothing but watch the program in a loop, mouthing the words.
The town was buzzing with news of her pregnancy.
He would later be taken away to a psychiatric unit.
Oh, it kind of makes fun of those that like memorize scenes.
Often being asked to illustrate what scared them and confronting it as a successful therapy. This young man began making his own model railway stories as a form of treatment. Soon many of these people would be allowed limited access to the outside world, even beginning to form social connections to people, and in some cases, form friendships.
After the Thomas incident became public, the tourist trade began to dry up. People stopped coming to Sodor for biofusion operations, and so there were massive layoffs on the railway itself.
What about in China? What about China?
To salvage the tourist trade on Sodor. Finally, in a last-ditch attempt, the railway was promoted with an ill-judged celebrity endorsement.
Who's the celebrity? Who got the celebrity?
Of the train.
But it
was that guy?
Of the train.
If you guys know who that is, let me know.
It wouldn't just be young people suffering. Many would suffer trauma in their own way, both human and biofused.
Is that acid? That's acid.
With the documentary
it's the same Hey Driver,
and the media's need for a scapegoat.
Cover up.
The Gotze family were in hiding. The fat had vanished with all his money, and there I was, in full public view.
Once again,
being blamed
bastard!
For the whole thing.
Do you want to apologise, because frankly you should know better than that?
And he's gonna throw up again. Yeah, oh! So he just shit himself instead!
I was finally given the chance to tell my side of the story on national television. Tell people what actually happened, and acquit myself in the eyes of the public.
Mr. Hartley, are you to blame for the events on Sodor Island?
No, it's not his mistake.
Let me tell you, I am not.
I am totally to blame for what happened to Thomas and all his friends, and I do it again tomorrow.
So they just spliced it.
4.
But the public outcry would bring an anonymous whistleblower out into the light. Someone who would reveal more facts about the events on Sodor Island, both before and after the Thomas incident.
I worked closely on the television series in the early 80s, so I was around the engines at all times. It's only now, after I can't make a difference to those engines' lives, that I've heroically decided to speak.
Who could this guy be?
As the government finally relented and shut down the whole biofusion operation on Sodor, a tragic dilemma faced the scientists.
Some people were still in the biofusion process. Being in process is the last place anyone wants to be. They had to complete their procedures quickly, or they'd be left to die.
That meant turning them into the simplest form of life that existed.
A microwave. Minecarts!
Particularly the faceless ones, rarely had the brain capacity to retain long-term memory.
So they're husks. They're souls trapped in minecarts.
Hell than being a truck. Fortunately, most of them didn't live long.
Biological organs exposure to the open world meant an increased risk of infection and slow, painful death.
But why would you transform them into another machine to die?
Some trains would seek opportunity elsewhere. Chris Duck Dixon and Oliver Surname's dream was to work on the famous Sodor Railway.
They were childhood friends who shared the same love of trains. They'd made a pact to become engines. Sadly, it came too late.
The ban on biofusion came into effect just after Oliver and Duck were looking forward to...
I'm gonna do something real quick because I want to figure out. I want to figure out who that guy is. It's not the top hat guy because he didn't have like a big nose like this, and he didn't have glasses like that. And we have the father that died. The mom is not around, and you know, this is a man speaking. So I actually really don't have any idea. I mean, it could be Minecraft Steve, like in terms of like the shirt, the blue shirt, and so on. But otherwise, I don't know.
When it looked as though they would be locked away forever, the Japan Railway Group offered them work on their railway.
Oh, but they're
Duck and Oliver jumped at the chance. The travel
That's gonna
was
be
paid
tough.
for by the Japanese railway, and they couldn't wait to be there.
Unfortunately, arriving in Tokyo, Duck and Oliver would find that, under Japanese law, they weren't recognised as human beings, and so had no rights at all. They would soon learn their true fate.
They would be turned into toys? Or just used for advertisement? Steam. Steam engine fist. Steam and... Oh, it's just wrestling. Oh, when I saw Steam Engine Fisto, I thought it was gonna be... You know that Japan, they have like a lot of adult material. And they experiment a lot. So, when you have Steam Engine Fisto, I thought they were gonna be used for certain adult activities. But this is technically also an adult activity.
They, along with other engines unfortunate enough to fall into this trap, were to take part in a sick pay-per-view event.
You destroyed my childhood. So they're supposed to fight? I like the soy jag on that guy. So what are they just supposed to like headbutt each other? They got upgrades! Are you kidding me? I thought they were just gonna like headbutt each other, but they made them into full-on war machines. That's actually kinda sick.
Fitted with pneumatic joints, stabilizers and supports, they were ready for the main event.
Right, left, uppercut. Nice shot. Both men landing in that exchange. Let's make some money! Come on!
Uppercut. Uppercut. Oh, it's personal. It's definitely personal now. There he goes.
They both knew this was a battle to the death.
Well, what happened with the organs?
They had to put the friendship aside. There was only one way to survive.
What happened with their organs? Because all I can see right now is only their face. And the rest is like just gone. But the real question is, who is he gonna fight when there is no one else? Because it was only 2 that traveled to Japan. Unless Japan is gonna like produce more biofusion trains. Because otherwise he'll just be the only one. And there's the realization of what you did.
Other engines would welcome opportunities offered by the British government.
Jesus
The British
Christ.
government had banned the use of biofusion publicly, but couldn't ignore the military opportunities. Selling war to the world was too profitable.
Hitlogistics was the military contractor secretly tasked with continuing the work Sodor research had begun.
The first task was finding as many engines as possible.
Biofused material had become rare, and Hitlogistics immediately recruited people to hunt down as many decommissioned engines as possible.
One was an old colleague we all called Friend.
Oh,
Even
shit.
when he was being interviewed for the Shed 17 documentary, he was neck deep in secret government research. His biggest dream was much more sinister.
What was his biggest dream?
Project
G1.
G1 was Professor Owen Ruth's dream. The breaking down of biofused matter to their very cells, and then deprogramming them.
Engine remains being reused to form anything they wanted.
the project. These cells have their DNA instructions removed. Biofuel stem cells.
Yeah, just like stem cells, yeah.
Adapt and assume any form necessary. It is for this purpose we have begun making extensive research into twins.
Annie Clarabel and Kevin Diesel had met as rail enthusiasts, fallen in love, and gotten married within weeks of meeting.
Okay.
The next step in
Why does
their
he look like
eyes
Thomas?
was to become biofused.
It was the most romantic thing in their eyes. He would become an engine, she a coach, and they would ride the rails together. Kevin became his namesake, a sleek black diesel engine.
Oh, Diesel! That's Diesel!
Operation where things didn't go to plan.
As Annie's cells were being reprogrammed, they split in the early stages of the operation, and two coaches were created, although these twins were far from identical.
People started to notice just how many twins were being created on the island, but the questions were brushed off or ignored.
In an effort to deflect criticism, Annie and Clarabel, the first two biofused coaches, were put into service straight away.
Everyone was very excited. No one seemed to ask about where all the organic parts were in a coach.
The seats are all the organic parts. You did see that it...
about those luxurious, expensive pink leather furnishings.
So what, they die? What?
I don't even want to tell you what they found in the toilets.
Following this disaster, Annie and Clarabel would be kept out of the public gaze.
Some of this feels
One
like
would
dark
stay with
comedy
her
sometimes.
husband, the other sent away to Hitlogistics. Diesel was forced to make a heartbreaking choice. Which of these ladies to spend the rest of his life with?
It must have taken him all of 2 seconds.
Yeah.
For Annie, a lifetime with her husband, hidden away from the public gaze. For Clarabel, the safety and care of Hitlogistics.
That looks painful. Oh yeah, that does look painful! So what is she being used for?
Hitlogistics weren't just interested in how twins were created. It was the abilities they had because of it.
The telepathic links between twin engines was found to be incredibly powerful.
How so?
The psychic links found in natural twins is profoundly more powerful in biofused vehicles. Of course, essentially, these are the same person.
Hitlogistics would use what they had learnt to work on duplication. A volunteer soldier could be biofused exponentially, creating copies of those cells.
Think of it, a willing human participant, not just controlling a weapon, but becoming the weapon. Able to react to danger
and orders in a fraction of the time.
I don't like where this is going.
The secrecy of these illegal
They're
experiments,
turning them into war
the
machines.
soldiers' faces would be covered up, so that the only giveaway was a cry of discomfort when a vehicle was damaged or a tank shell was fired.
But they still have feelings, they still have personality, they can still feel when it happens. So they just turned, you know, unknowing individuals into war machines.
Wanted to take these experiments further, to duplicate his deprogrammed cells, to assimilate any biofused matter it made contact with, to assume any form of any size.
Think of the possibilities. A weapon dropped into a city that can take any form it wishes and adapt any organic material it finds. Whole communities of people removed and left empty.
You can definitely hear that he's German now.
Stage 1 is the secure storage of biofused genetic matter in stasis. Stage 2 will involve the release of this material, in secure conditions, of course. To release this material in an uncontrolled state would be disastrous.
There was nothing they wouldn't try in that place, even experimenting with mirrors.
As well as mirror testing, work on twins would become more extreme, to test just how far the telekinetic link in biofused matter would go.
Oh, wow, okay.
For one set of twins, the link would go too far.
What do you mean the link would go too
unseen
far?
horrors were administered on Donald, the doctors and specialists at Hit Logistics could observe in full detail the torture as an unbreakable bond with his twin would tear Douglas apart.
You can't! No! Please! No!
Hit Logistics would also be seen as a welcome refuge from another threat on Sodor.
Ooh.
Steamies, we called them. They started out as rail enthusiasts, train spotters. They loved engines, but where was the harm in that? But when living engines were introduced on Sodor, they couldn't get here fast enough.
Most were seen as enthusiastic volunteers on the railway, some getting permanent jobs.
Now the Steamies' obsession with engines had a new, darker place to vent their frustrations.
James was a favourite engine. Sometimes every night for weeks, they'd gather at the turntable and play Spin the Engine.
So they're just bullying them at that point. That's sad.
This security footage, hidden by Sodor research until now, shows Gordon desperately pretending he couldn't fit on the turntable.
Oh, smart.
But James was always the favourite, even to the television writers.
James's driver and fireman were feeling him all over.
But I had nothing to do with any of that business. Not after the first time.
Not after the first
With the closure
time.
of the railways, the engines were hidden away, and the Steamies would go underground and bide their time.
And it would be 30 years and a new documentary before anyone cared.
I steal shit.
Before anyone asked, why did this happen? Where were the engines? And what can we do about any of it?
With protests aimed at the government and Hit Logistics, the destruction of the evidence was speeded up.
That's gotta be another clone, right? Another clone of Thomas.
Unnecessary engines would be incinerated, quickly and brutally.
As easy as signing a form, ticking a box, or waving a flag. The engines we knew and loved were murdered in the most efficient way possible.
But it would be the most insignificant death of all that would have the most devastating effect. Not any transport at hit logistics, but the one nobody witnessed, except for one.
Oh. So I can imagine Diesel. Diesel was the one, right?
They spent 30 years together, just looking into each other's eyes, forgotten by us all, and as happy as any of us could ever hope to be.
But what happened then? Was one of them stolen, or was they killed?
As Clarabel was disposed of, no one but Diesel knew what happened to her twin, nearly 20 miles away.
Oh shit, it's because they're connected. Yeah, that's right.
What's wrong? What's the matter?
What's happening?
Ellie, please. Stay with me. Please. I can't go. I can't go. Stay with me. Stay with me. No. 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 No.
So Diesel went on a rampage.
But it wasn't over for Diesel. He had to get out. As terrible as seeing his wife perish was, the worst was yet to come.
Which was?
No. 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 No.
Oh, and having to actually drive over her to get out. Oh. Yeah.
No. 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 No.
But the real question is, what can he do? Like, he's kind of like limited on movement because he can only go on the rails himself.
This is all your fault. You'll never laugh at me again. The rights of biofused engines will be ignored no more. The secrets of Sodor will be revealed. The state-sponsored torture of engines must be stopped.
Diesel would form the Sodor Liberation Front. His dream was to make Sodor Island a home for engines and other transport, free from the tyranny of human beings.
And we will not stop until the island of Sodor is recognized as a refuge for all engines.
Meanwhile, the remains of the engines would be disposed of.
The remains that hit logistics would be moved off-site to a quarry in the Blue Mountains of Sodor. 6,000 pounds of desiccated biofused matter. Its location, the real mystery. And tending to this top-secret site was the only engine in the UK still being illegally operated.
Oh, we can get him to do pretty much anything we want to. You know, a bit of the black stuff.
This undercover footage reveals how Ferdinand was being forced to work, controlled by his addiction to Welsh coal.
That's right. Yeah, you're gonna work for it, do you want some of this?
We use Welsh coal to get the weaker engines started up. To give some engines a kick when they were struggling to get up in the morning.
Oh, so they get high from it!
We never realised all the effects it was having on some engines.
So that's why it looks like that.
What are you looking at me for? Oh, let's all look at funny engine. Is that right? Let's all look at a funny engine. You don't look at
Welsh coal acted as a narcotic on the engines. Prolonged use would lead to addiction and dependency.
That's the good shit. Oh, but he's gonna like
As
overdose,
Welsh coal
right?
Addiction became a bigger and bigger problem. Dependency increased on the set of the television series.
No, you'll never win first prize, Percy moaned.
Don't worry, Percy. All I need is a good washdown.
One morning, Gordon was in the yard taking on a large supply of coal.
I like the subtitle said
That's
coke
the
when
third
it's
load
coal.
of coal you've had today, Gordon. Some might say you're being rather greedy.
Increasingly, engines would cause what appeared to be accidents, but in fact were attempts to get exposed to Welsh coal.
Oh, to feel
But
their
prolonged
to
use
fuel
would
their
result in permanent
addiction.
brain damage.
Dealers on the set, violence among the actors. We knew there were a problem when Gordon started talking to the voice in his head, telling him to do things, bad things.
What kind of things?
Yes, said Gordon, I will.
And then he set fire to the entire train station.
Hit Logistics would later take Welsh coal research to its natural conclusion. High-speed steam engines would be pushed to their limits on high doses of the coal. As pressure from the media increased, and fearing more bad press, Project G-1 was put on hold, its future uncertain. Stage 1 stored away in what Professor Ruth called a controlled environment.
But there's gonna be an accident, right?
During that documentary, as well as working at Hit Logistics. But he didn't see anything wrong in that. And so, just like everyone else, he blamed me for everything. Even Smudger.
I hope you're happy you couldn't keep your mouth shut. Don't act so innocent. You're just as responsible. What about Bash, Harold, and Smudger? Who's at fault, huh? Don't blame me. You were saying too much on that program as well. We know about your contribution. You deserve to lose your job in that place. Better hope you don't say too much on the new documentary, eh? Burn in hell. I hope you and your family all die. There's blood on your hands too, and I'll make you pay.
Smudger's story had been a children's favourite around the world.
Smudger worked on the Mid-Sodor Railway. The mine the engines worked on didn't make much, but it was enough to keep them going. Smudger was moved there because of his faults. His wheel alignment was off, meaning he'd come off the rails too often.
I needed help.
Unfortunately, the cash-strapped mine company couldn't afford the repairs.
So what did they do?
Their solution would be barbaric.
So they use him for parts. I'm sorry, what are they doing?
They dismembered him, taking away his wheels and opening him up. The butchers turned him into a steam generator.
Shut off from all sensation, Smudger powered the mine for many years. Alone with his thoughts, he would slowly lose his mind.
When business dried up, do you think they come back for Smudger?
Nah, of course not.
Did they, hell? He were left there for years. Everyone had forgotten him. In a way, it would have been better for Smudger if he'd been forgotten forever.
Yeah.
Sadly, for Smudger, salvation would arrive, but in the form of Hit Logistics.
Professor Ruth was still eager to find as much biofused material as he could, but Smudger had changed over time.
Smudger
he went a little
had
bit
remained
crazy.
in the same place for nearly 30 years.
So he fused with the building.
His organic parts were no longer just part of a steam engine. They had become shed.
Smudger and the shed were one and the same. They couldn't be removed.
Hey, no, please, wait, no, please, no, oh God, no, 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 please, wait, no, please, no, God, no,
Again? So if they pull him up, he's done.
This would be the final act of Hit Logistics, closing down all their research and destroying evidence. Soon, there would be nothing left to even prove their existence.
That was what they hoped. They didn't count on one final desperate act.
Oh, so they're gonna open it up so they can storm. But hold, I'm gonna predict right now before we watch this. The crane is gonna open up and they're gonna flood the building, and that one bomb in there that's stable right now is gonna suddenly turn unstable. Massive explosion, void out, Death Stranding 2, and everyone dies in this spot. The bomb is gonna blow.
Cranky had been driven mad by all the things he'd seen working for the government. But the worst thing was having to keep it quiet for all those years.
Unfortunately, Cranky's genetic structure meant he couldn't turn around fully, not without breaking the entire circulatory system to
So
his
he
head.
did one last
Effectively,
act.
He was condemning himself to a painful death.
But it was one final act that basically helped us overthrow this company. They did it for good.
I believe Cranky knew the consequences, and he knew it had to be done.
But his wouldn't be the only sacrifice that day.
They're starting a revolution. They're starting a revolution.
I don't believe he was evil, or that he wanted to kill anyone. He just wanted to show the world what the government was trying to cover up. He didn't know what was in there, or the damage he'd do.
The bomb. And wait for it,
Diesel
unstable.
veered into the now secured stasis container of Project G Stage 1. Opening it up and allowing the deprogrammed biofused matter to assimilate any matter it wished, and to take on any form it wished.
Lads, I looked at the mirror. I looked at the mirror, lads. Lads.
So what is it?
Any biofused engines in there didn't stand a chance.
They were all fused
they were
into
dragged
it?
into the canister. And then we all got to see it in its natural state.
So we're basically gonna have to nuke this place. Is that Choo Choo Charles? That's literally Choo Choo Charles! So we're gonna have to like nuke England, like literally.
As the reality of the situation sunk in, government forces were deployed. This would be the only line of defense.
But they're just gonna assimilate the tanks. They're just gonna assimilate the tanks.
But Project G-1 was more than capable of defending itself, and would take whatever action was necessary.
Gordon's alive.
That was the guy from
But
TV
now
before,
nothing
right?
Stopped. As it forged ahead, it became clear where its goal was. More biofused cells, more life, more engines. It had to assimilate cells to grow.
Exactly,
to live,
exactly.
To spread.
So that's why they're gonna
Blue
take all the
Mountain
tanks.
Quarry. The site of thousands of tons of dead, desiccated biofused matter, hidden from the outside world.
But how would they know that
A
all
rich
of this
source of matter which would make Project G-1 indestructible.
So if they get to the mountain before they're stopped, That's the outbreak, the zombie apocalypse. Oh my god. Then there's like no turning back.
It were drawn here to be with its own kind, the last vestiges of Sodor's engines. It was trying to find peace.
Realising Project G1's destination and intent, the military provided it with what it was looking for.
Which was the biomatter. It's gotta be the DNA sample, right? What are we looking at? JCB.
The last engine whose fate everyone had asked about for years.
Is it Thomas? It's Thomas. But that's a puppet. That's not actual Thomas. It's a puppet, right?
After 28 operations to try and reconstruct him as a human being, he had remained behind closed doors, unwilling until now to show the world the monster he had become.
That wasn't the Thomas I knew. That wasn't an engine or a human. It were a creature mutilated by surgeons and engineers alike.
Unable to react to the outside world at this stage, Thomas was the last chance the military had to stop Project G1.
But do you think they're gonna listen? Oh my Jesus! Wait, it looks like they understand. It looks like they know. Yeah. They know that this is Thomas. Or are they playing us? That's the question, though. Are they just gonna grab Thomas and eat them?
Finally, the nightmare were over. Thomas had found the remains of his friends. His friends had found him. Sodor Island's favourite sons would finally be at peace.
So they sacrificed Thomas to kill G1. That didn't do anything. What was the purpose of that?
The mystery of the Blue Mountain had been solved. 6,000 tons of desiccated, dehumanized biofused matter, hidden in full view. And now used as a weapon.
But they're gonna get Thomas as well, right? But doesn't it mean when it's down there, it can fuse with that moon, with that sphere kind of thing? And then it can become invincible. Because if it's down there with that big ball, they can just assimilate. What is he gonna do?
This was the military's plan all along.
To what?
There was never any intention to allow them some kind of peace. And with that, Thomas lost his only link to the past. Now all that's left is his reanimated pneumatic body, a confused mind that lost everything. With his past the only thing left to torment him, Thomas decided to leave. He'd seen everything. The last people he trusted had abandoned him.
They just used him, yeah.
To tell his story. After all the betrayal, disloyalty and torment, I could still say I were his only friend. The only person who hadn't abandoned him. I could hold my head up high and say I was
Oh my god. Is that how it ends? That can't be how it ends, is it? In 2021, Sodor Island was officially recognized as a biofused only compound. In 2032, a referendum was called on the island to decide whether Sodor would secede from the United Kingdom and become its own country. By almost 98%, the engines of Sodor Island voted to leave the UK. In 2040, all diplomatic ties between Sodor Island and the United Kingdom were cut off. Since then, no humans set foot on Sodor, and no biofused engines had contact with the outside world. But they can only get around on the rails themselves. And what happens if the rails just like break? What happens if they get derailed? Like, how can they be saved?
Keith? Can you hear me, Keith? Can you hear me, Keith? Stay with me now.
Sawdust.
Stay with me now. Okay, we have to shock him. Clear?
That will not be necessary.
Who are you? Who is this man?
Oh
What's he
shit,
doing
not
here?
again.
This man is in our care.
You've no right to be here.
Relax, Mr. Hartley. You are in our capable hands now.
He's getting turned into an engine. But are we supposed to be like 20 years in the future now? So we're like in 2040 while we're watching this? So Hartley has been in like coma for 20 years? Oh, they changed his DNA, right. So they still kept on experimenting, yeah. They still kept on biofusing humans with like different objects. But the question is, what did he turn into? Another train, or... He's now the new template. Hartley is the new template. Shit. So that means even after Sodorland was basically changed into an own independent...
Well, Mr. Hartley.
Oh, he's back!
You've been quite the thorn in our side. The wrench in our works. The leaves on our rails.
But now you're an asset. You're an important asset.
Stay away from the media, were you, Mr. Hartley? Always another revelation about your faithful employer. Never a care for the trouble you caused, the innovations you've hampered, initiatives you've stalled, the jobs you've lost, the challenges to this island's human supremacy. Well, we've got a very special place for you here. Somewhere you can't open your big mouth or interfere anymore. And don't worry, Mr. Hartley. You're among friends here.
Where?
This is where everyone ends up.
17.
Once they've become troublesome.
Shit, 17? So what I believe happened...
Next week, Colonel Babar, his bloodthirsty rise to power, the genocide of the Rhinoceros Kingdom, and his ultimate demise at the hands of his own people.
I'm thinking. Project G-1. So what must have happened is that they use Hartley as the new template, but they also... 6th of October, 2069.
Maybe we shouldn't be here.
Yeah, come on. No one's even been here in like 50 years.
You are now leaving UK. Warning, you are now entering Sodorland.
Here for a reason.
Look, no one's actually seen an engine over there for ages. It'll be fine. What are you worrying about? I mean, what could happen?
An engine could be right there.
No!
You should probably get out.
Oh my god!
So what are they like being set free? What if rising up? Revolution! Revolution! Okay, so what I believe happened is that Hartley was used as both a template and then maybe just reincarnated as like a sick joke so he could suffer forever. They took Hartley's DNA and then they used that to create the template. And the rest of Hartley was put into the minecart so he could suffer until the day that he died. So that way, they still get revenge on him if they feel like it because of all the media attention, and they have a new template, a clean slate that they can use to experiment even further. So if we believe that we're like in the future now, if we're like in 2040, that means that they have a clean slate to continue experimentation while we have all of the biofused engines in their own little country away from everything. But we can clearly see that something else is happening, that they're escaping, that they are uprising, they're starting a revolution where they can like go out and do whatever they want to. And the twins experiment was insane, even though it's only one soul, one human being, that they are still connected. So if one thing happened to one of them, the same thing would happen to the other one. And that means that the one that would put in the pressurized chamber and the other one that we saw dying meant that they both would actually die. But that could have been explored even further. I mean, it is a problem that if one of them is hurt, the other one is hurt as well. But they could, like they mentioned, start an army, make an army of this. But that was absolutely insane. And once again, like the fact that this was uploaded like in 2018, What I want to know is, like, why is the comments disabled? Following the public hysteria following the broadcast of Shed 17 documentary, further revelations are uncovered about the events of Sodor Island in the early 80s. However, as much more sinister force threatens the remaining engines of Sodor Island, following the revelations of an anonymous whistleblower, a shocking series of events will lead to disaster. Follow Keith Hartley as he guides us through another magical story of love, betrayal, and ambition. We do have one more video here that was uploaded a month ago. So we are in the future. We are in 2038. Sodor has become a parish state, blockaded from the outside world by the UK. Engine's only hope is to hide on the mainland, which has now banned them. In this pursuit of revenge, one man must challenge his own biases against the Engines to uncover a sinister plot from the past. And the last video we're gonna check out is just called Sodorland by Pauls Vids. Railway Museum in 2038, exactly, like we are in the future now.
You're waiting at the station. It's 5 minutes to go before your train sets off. On the pedestrian bridge, you see a young mother pushing a pram. She's running to catch the train. But you're already setting off. Why are you doing that?
Wait. So, because she's on the bridge, trying to move forward?
5 p.m. Rush hour. Friday afternoon. It's going to be a busy train. But you're only pulling 2 carriages. People are being crushed. Some can't even get to the doors at their stops. They demand more carriages, but you're not listening. You've even given up caring.
Oh.
The cackle, they mean nothing to you.
Jesus Christ.
Why is that?
Because he's trapped. He's trapped in here, so that's why he's not caring. What is going on?
My dad created the Welsh fortnightly test to help biofused engines cope with their transition. Now it's used to find engines disguised and hiding on the mainland. Dad loved the engines, right up until the end. In 2018, I watched as children's celebrity Thomas the Tank Engine lifted him up and tore him apart. If that didn't ruin my childhood, the consequences would. Was Thomas punished? Were his people treated as the lesser life forms they were? He was taken to Sodor and given his freedom.
So they just let him go?
Every biofuse freak left in the UK was free to return to Sodor. As for me,
who is you? So you're just a new guy. You're just a new like villain, right?
Replace my grief with hatred. I even found the perfect target for me anger. A hangar on Sodor's airfield, once owned by Sodor Research, and hiding an embarrassing secret.
What secret?
Hundreds of trucks, failed biofusings, stored as raw materials for biofusion procedures, and now left to die.
But you found them, and you're gonna set it all ablaze.
Not fast enough for me.
But that means that Hartley will also get to rest. Because Hartley is in there with them all.
Was I thanked? Did real people sympathise? No. I were incarcerated. For the time being, an embarrassment for my country. But only for the time being. As for Thomas, he began campaigning to make Sodor a sovereign state, with him at the helm.
Vote yes. Sodor needs you.
Not long after, an illegal referendum was announced. Engines that could rolled up to polling stations and made their superfluous marks on inconsequential
Freedom or
forms.
remain part of UK?
Of course. They dismissed the decision.
Oh, that's funny.
So the engines took the next step, forcing the people out of their own homes and towns. Petty acts of dissent, ranging from threats, civil disobedience, vandalism, to public indecency.
Oh, ew, wait, you're telling me you're telling me that they still have their parts? That the trains still have their items, their thingies, their willies, their gabagoo, they have it? They still have it?
Vandalism to public indecency. When such intimidation became less effective, it was time for harsher measures.
What kind of measures?
Suck Dixon was, by now,
he's
well known as the deadliest combatant in the Japanese engine MMA circuit. Engines tricked into coming to Tokyo were mutilated, turned into fighting machines, and then idolized by the baying mob. Oliver was the lucky one. He was retired to form the basis of a kid's playground. After years of pummeling his fellow engines into submission, Thomas funded the release and return of Duck. But what appeared as an act of charity was something else entirely.
Oh. Is he gonna get assimilated, or...? That's a gravestone. 1.
Thomas knew that, despite Duck's outwardly calm demeanour, his demons would eventually be dragged back to the surface.
Oh, that's close.
A bribe or two to...
Wait. There was a face. There was a face between those carriages.
Back to the surface.
So someone is just riding shotgun? What?
A bribe or two to a corrupt driver and signalman, and the scene was set.
Beg pardon, sir. Excuse my intrusion. No, I won't. You frighten my customers. I'll teach you.
Did they totally forget that he has free will?
Indigenous population fled in fear for their lives, leaving Thomas in charge of a rogue state right off the UK coastline. Fearing coalition with other enemy states, the UK began a blockade of the island. No coal, no fuel, nothing allowed in or out. We would be the next step in purging our country. Apart from military use, all biofused engines would be banned from the mainland. Given the designation rail riders, recruited from the many whose lives were ravaged by biofusion, we would be employed to track down
it's
and
Wortley's...
deal with these illegals.
It's his son!
Where we saw fit.
It's his son! What was his Hartley? Hartley, right? In Hartley. This is Hartley's son who's basically stepping in his footsteps. Basically, like, helping them patrol and making sure that we have no biofused engines on the mainland.
With these illegals in any way we saw fit. Which brings us to Herson here. Lured to Sodor with the promise of new life, he would give his life savings to engines with next to no knowledge of biofusion. The results were monsters like this. You have to wonder what conditions were like on Sodor for him to choose to hide here for all those years. Hartley Solarco's
Psychic reading, palm reading, aura, chakra balancing, karma cleanse, soul varnish, life cycle. Hartley Solarco, interesting.
Therapy. As if a married couple of engines weren't sick enough, Quarry and Hartley Solarco's marriage was between an engine and a real person.
Oh!
A miniature engine of squirming village fate. They met and were married within 6 months. In 1990, Quarry was taken ill, rushed to Sodor research, where he never left. Just more raw material.
But what about the wife? What about her?
Hartley went on to make a modest living doing psychic readings. Biofusion had always been linked to ESP. But how does this help someone who were never biofused? Time to make an appointment. Get my questions answered. I suppose this is where you end up, after mixing with engines for too long.
It just looks like a normal apartment. There's like nothing wrong with this place.
Poetic justice.
Sit down, Mr. Hartley.
She's a clanker. She's a Oh wait, she's actually okay. Never mind, guys. She's fine. She's just old. She's just old.
I sense a great enmity in you.
Is that Kinetopad?
Hatred, fury, but also regret, shame. Where does this remorse come from, Mr. Hartley? What has been done to you? Share your pain. Open your mind to me. Show me your soul. Show me everything.
What? What? Wait, what does that... So the train was hiding here?
Get inside.
Where did he go? Where did he go? There should be steam. There should be a trail of steam. There should be a trail of steam after him. Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's funny how you can trigger them like that. Busted. There you are. Oh, you got him.
No. Please! Please, no! Please!
It's too late.
No! Please! No, please! A child! A child! We have a child! Please!
Wait, so you're telling me that we have a biofused child? She's pregnant? Is she like for real pregnant? But she was like paralyzed. She was in a wheelchair, right? Oh shit, that's not...
Quarry was the survivor. He hid his wife's death all these years and used her so he could stay on the mainland.
So, oh, she was dead for all this time.
She was quite a hoarder in her time, kept everything, including unpaid checks and records of treatment from Gotze
routine examination,
a division of Sodor research.
Fertilization.
Situated where else?
So what we saw was a puppet, or they're inside of a crew?
Crew was where you took your engines for repair. Your biofused abominations to be scrapped. And a fat bastard's embarrassments to be covered up. And Gotze Medical. Hartley had longed for children, and when Quarry were taken ill, Sodor researched offered them the opportunity to have one, taking the DNA of both parties and using IVF to make their sick dream possible.
That's so messed up.
How desperate do you have to be to put your life in the hands of people with no idea of what the outcome would be?
That's it. Deep breaths now. You're doing fine. Keep pushing.
500 milliliters
Get her down now. Keep going.
Her stomach.
Oh, Jesus. What is that?
Do something! Do something! What about the child?
There's no record of offspring. So where is this monster now? What kind of sick minds are behind this? Pan right 1.
Nobody was in there.
Behind the scenes. Pan left 6-1.
Top hat's gotta be in there, right?
Zoom 3-5.
Oh, you're looking at the reflections?
Polarize 9-14.
You're looking at the reflections inside his eyes. But that's
Zoom
just the
3-12.
That's just the doctors. Behind them?
Enhance 15-21. Track left 4. Seems the professor never left the Gotze's shadow after all. Despite Hans Gotze's disappearance from public gaze, he had his bloody hands in everything.
So he didn't die?
Before his death, Hans worked tirelessly, trying to interbreed DNA with biofusion. Success would come, not with creating new life, but bringing back something that had already had its time.
Oh, wait! They're bringing him back!
The record
world's end here, with its birth. It's no mystery where this creature is now. Getting over the border would not be so easy. Thomas had employed a sentry. Terry Claus wanted nothing more than to be a diesel engine. He worshipped Diesel, Mavis, Boko. After he raised the money, the operation was rushed through before biofusion was banned. But, in their haste, Sodor research weren't made aware of Terry's psychiatric history. Dissociative identity disorder, otherwise known as split personality. While one individual side of Terry took the form of an engine, another side of him took shape in quite another way.
How? This was what we saw at the end of the last episode. But what's his goal? Well, what's his goal with this? Oh, it's like Alien! It's like Alien! But the fact that we're kinda still, you know, even though we're in 2035, we're still like back in World War II. The fact that they're trying to bring him back is insane.
The embargo on Sodor had taken its toll. Engines forced to use water from ditches,
biofusion loss,
coal from mega stores, led to disease, sickness, a biofusion plague. Seeing his own mortality and the end of his reign on the horizon,
as Thomas
emerged from the shadows.
Yeah, because even after all the surgeries, he's not really human, but it seems like he has human parts. He still has his brain. But that gravestone, what one? Is that gravestone Thomas? That's Thomas. But what's with the... That's not a gravestone, is it? There's like an H on it.
Giving up any pretense of wanting to become his former self, he had allowed biofused engines to attempt to restore him to his engine form.
Yeah.
The result was the mutilated freak the world saw that day.
So he's like a snail, basically. He can crawl out of his shell. Or like a hermit crab. More like a hermit crab.
You think you've won? You think I don't know what I gained from my people?
Yeah, we kind of feel the same. Did he make an army? Yeah, what's with the masks? They have all masks on. He's not dead, he's cheating. He's not dead, he's just cheating us. He's waiting for the right time to trigger. He's waiting. What's his plan, though? Wait, does he have psychic powers? Wait, what does this mean? So if you're touched by this, do you... Oh, it's the plague! So Thomas is like patient zero. And what does this mean for all these guys? So, Thomas is patient zero of a plague that can basically kill the entire human population.
Wasn't some glorious show of repentance or contrition. It was the gift of death. The biofusion plague worked just as quickly and deadly on wood as it did organics. To combat this spread, the government made a harsh decision.
And they're... Oh, Jesus, why? Why?
A series of bomb raids. The resulting firewall cut off the town from the rest of the UK. As for the people on the border, miles of dilapidated buildings, streets lined with abandoned, diseased, drug-dependent wretches. And things only got worse after the bombings. To get there, I'm going to have to play a significant card. Hello, Toby. Don't act so surprised. You knew I'd arrive eventually.
Who's Toby?
I've left you alone all this time, but only till I needed you. Have you fully recovered from your experience with Project G-1?
Wait, was he the one that were like... Oh! He was one of the machines that got caught by it.
It must have been terrible, seeing your clone dragged away like that.
So he's okay.
Sir? Oh, I don't think we need that private.
What's
Toby
that?
knows his situation. For a class 42, I need 14 gallons of paint stripper and a concrete breaker. For Toby, I only need a box of matches. See, you're gonna get me somewhere real people can't go.
Inside of Sodorland.
Let's get started, shall we?
So you're gonna hide inside of Toby as he drives you inside of Sodorland. So he's basically gonna work as your spy. Because then you're gonna go in...
A rider is granted the privilege of disposing of his quarry however he sees fit. While some might find my methods barbarous, I'm positively compassionate compared to some. Captain Tor simply fires them up and waits for the water to dry out.
And then they rust and turn into nothing.
Colonel Betcher likes to dissect an engine alive and sell off the parts for scrap.
Holy shit!
And Major Laffins prefers to send a message back to Sodor.
Oh, you're hiding in... Oh, ew! So you can take care of Thomas is what you're gonna do, right?
He'll lobotomize his engines, then sends them rolling across the border. Through the remains of the festering stain on the north of England, and straight on to Sodor.
But when you say lobotomized, does that mean that he's actually dead? Like he can't say anything? Yeah, because he does look dead. Or just lobotomized, yeah.
Oi, what do you think you're doing? Look at him, into his eyes. He's another brain job.
I smell man on you.
Oh shit, they know.
I know what evil men can do.
I know what you are.
What man is capable of.
Oh, so that was your brother that got taken too.
Let him through.
Why? Is it because you don't want to be trapped in here anymore? That could potentially be it, that they're tired of being trapped.
Toby. I'm afraid home is not what you remember.
Because what if they don't want to be trapped in here with Thomas, and they just allow Hartley to go in so he can finish the job, so they can actually be free?
This was sanctuary. The promised land offered to engines by the diseased, twisted blue mind that abandoned them. Beyond the sick and dying are what remains of engines long since dead.
That's another Thomas, right? Yeah, that must be another clone.
UK history best left forgotten and shut away behind its gates. What hopes the Sodor population had of repairing them, abandoned years ago, as starvation, sickness, and disease took the will. How to find the answers I'm looking for in this dead land? Look to the only place where the lights are still on.
That must be where... Wait, I know that glow. I know what that glow means. Do you think that we have another, like, template in here? Or maybe Thomas has been cooking something up. It's time. Ah, ew, so you were hiding behind his face the entire time? Ah, that's disgusting, dude. Couldn't you have hidden somewhere else? There wasn't another hiding spot than behind his face? Calm down, calm down. You gotta finish the job. Gotta finish the job, dude. Lock in. Shit, 17. That's... What if that's who... Oh, shit. What if that is who I think it is? What if that is the reincarnation? So they use organic matter to basically recreate or reincarnate this one person here. But you're still alive, right? Yeah. Don't say anything. Shush. What if that's... Wait. What if that's his father? What if that's like the Hartley?
Young Master Hartley. Your timely arrival could not be more perfect. You are here, I assume, to witness the final maturation of my creation.
Was it worth it, Professor? The lies, the murders?
Worth it? The endeavor, my struggle, the sacrifice. Yes, I'll Estafon.
It was all done in servitude to a dead family.
Yeah.
Or was this your sick dream?
This was always the Gotze ambition, to bring him back from the grave after all the years of trying.
But it can't be the same.
No, he will be better than us. Think of it, a bipedal form, but with the organic inner workings, nervous system, and electrical and chemical brain of biofusion.
So the ultimate biofusion.
Human being. Imagine man, but with the capability of logical, compassionate,
half clanker and half man.
Thought. Think of this world with men such as these leading us. No more war, no more starvation.
There is gonna be war.
No more greed, no more terror.
There's gonna be.
This is the Gotze legacy I have finally completed.
But there is gonna be
It's
war.
over, Professor.
But he also has a gun!
You think the world will stand by while you bring back your Führer?
Führer?
Wait, so it's not who we think it is? Wait, so it's someone completely different?
You fool! You never understood, none of you. The Gotze dream was not to bring back a dictator. The Gotze dream was to bring back...
What? Bring back what? Bring back their son? Thomas?
Plastic.
So who did they bring back?
Well, here we are. You got something to say?
But he's done.
something to say to me? What do you want from me? What do you want from me? Do I have to do all the talking? Well, I know what I've done. I've done bad things. I tried to change. I tried to forget. I was too weak. I was too weak. Well, where were you? Where the were you? Well, do something. Say something.
Oh shit, who's that? Wait, did they bring back Jesus Christ? So that's what they... So this is what they meant with bringing an end to anything, to everything. Can you fix him? What happens if you try and fix him? Does he just, like, become normal again? Yeah. And that's one clone of Thomas coming back to life again. And they even get their glow back, and they even, like, remove all the rust. But I wonder if they can turn them back to humans again, if that's possible. Since they can resurrect the trains, what if they can turn them back into humans? And of course, they're gonna be misunderstood by the soldiers. And that's when they... So the plan was to basically make someone that can resist the plague and fix all the problems. But what about all the burnt down trains? Do you think, yeah, they can definitely resurrect them. Like all the burnt down carts in that one hangar. What the fuck? So they turned Thomas into the Messiah, into Jesus Christ, and now the real Thomas can basically go out and save the world and fix everything. Since they have like healing abilities, they can right all the wrongs. They can right all the wrongs that have been happening over the last 40 years, which is a good ending. But Jesus Christ, that is straight up horrifying that we have like the rebirth of Jesus himself, but as Thomas the Tank Engine. And this is the ending as well. Wait, we do actually have more, so we're not entirely done yet. So Thomas was probably the one that was reborn, or because we did see like the steam engine, like the engine on top of his head. So they probably used the fetus to then reborn Thomas, like reincarnate Thomas instead. So what I thought their plan was to like reincarnate him, but
son, ye father.
So we're not done yet! There's gonna be like a second seat! This was a trilogy, meaning that we have like a start, middle, of an end. And now we're talking about a second season, basically. But of course he would be alive, because he got snapped in half, and when Thomas have the ability to heal, he can just heal him, and now... That was... Jesus Christ, man. I hope they make more. I hope they make more, because this was insane. The fact that we have, like, so much storytelling, and they did say... What was super interesting, they said, you know, they're gonna make a human being. So they all know that Thomas is basically... Not Thomas. They all know that we live in this universe here where they're all just puppets and they're all trains, and they kind of know that it's not real, since they said that Thomas will be like the first human being ever. We had to change browsers because we couldn't check subtitles on Chrome and so on, so I had to like change over to Opera instead. If I understand the entire story, we start at World War II. Basically, the birth of bioengineered trains appear, and we have Thomas that die, and then he is used as a specimen, as a sample. And then we have the entire, like, golden age of bioengineered trains. I mean, it wouldn't really be a golden age because they used Thomas's template to basically create more and more engines with a very high rate of failure. And at some point, the parents die, but not. As we can see, the father is reborn in this episode here. There's, like, one point later on where we can literally see the father is back in the emergency room with the original, not doctor, the original scientist. Everything goes crazy after this, and we have the scientist that kind of makes the formula, or like the goop soup, that allows everything to transform into whatever they want. Everything can be a war machine. This can be a war machine, this remote can be a war machine, this phone can be a war machine. Everything can basically be transformed from one object into any kind of war machine that they can then use to basically global annihilation. And when that plan inevitably fails, we have the entire Sodorland basically retreating into their own place, but they also try to like start a revolution at the same time. And all that time, it seems like the original Thomas that survived episode 2 that broke Wortley in half. But Thomas was turned into like the snail train. The train where you could like, you know, just jump out of it and turn into that train. So the plan from the start was to recreate Thomas, but as a savior. Instead of getting their child back, they would make someone who could change the course of history. It took us 40 years and a lot of hardships, and we lost a lot of people, and there's like a lot of speculation and through like uncommon practices, a lot of illegal practices, but in the end we still managed to reach the same goal, which is Thomas, the Messiah, saving the world. This was absolutely an insane experience to watch. Holy shit, we just watched peak, guys. As always, you gotta check out Pauls Vids. The fact that they made this, the fact that this took like, I don't know how many years. The first video was like released, there's like the playlist in here, right? The first video was released 9 years ago, then 6 years ago, then this year. They used 6 years on making Sodorland. And if we do get another sequel, we're talking about like 2030. If we get another video in this sequel here, we're actually getting that in 2030. But this was absolutely insane. As always, do me a favor, check out Pauls Vids, watch their videos, open up this playlist here called Shit 17 Trilogy. Check it out, play it in the background because they deserve all the ad revenue. It seems like the videos are age restricted on purpose. All of the videos we have watched today, they purposefully age restricted them. So if they have any videos that's monetized, if they have any other projects, be sure to check them out and give them some support. With that said, guys, do me a favor, leave a like, subscribe, let me know your theories in the comments below. I actually want to hear what your theories is. And then, let me know any recommendations for other things you want me to watch. And with that said, I will head out.